The seed did not speak. It did not glow brighter. It did not move. It simply waited. Illyra held it in her palm as the UNS Vireo drifted toward the world the song had shown them, a place the galaxy had forgotten, the Synod had never scanned, and the Keepers had never dared to name. It was not a planet, not a moon, not a station. It was a garden. Floating in the heart of a dying nebula, it shimmered like a living dream. 1,000 trees with silver leaves that sang in the wind, rivers that flowed upward into the sky, and 12 children standing in a perfect circle beneath a canopy of starlight. Each child wore a tunic woven from memory. Each child held a seed. Each child looked at the Vireo. And each child whispered the same word, not aloud, but in the quiet between heartbeats. "You're late." The ship landed, without engines, without thrusters, without permission. It touched down as if it had always belonged here. The crew stepped out, not in armor, not in silence, but in stillness. They had no weapons, no transmissions, no plan, only the seed in Illyra's hand, and the knowledge that they were not arriving. They were returning. The children did not run. They did not hide. They stepped forward, one by one, and bowed. Not to Illyra, not to the crew, to the seed. The first child, the one from the vision, stepped forward. She was older now, 12 years old. Her hair was dark as space, her eyes like polished obsidian. She reached out, not for the seed, but for Illyra's hand. "You remembered," she said. Illyra's voice cracked. "I didn't know I was remembering you." The child smiled. "You remembered feeling. That's all we needed." She turned to the others. "This is the first garden, the place where the first whisper chose to sleep." The children formed a circle around the Vireo. One by one, they placed their seeds on the ground. 12 seeds, 12 different colors. 1 gold, 1 blue, 1 red, 1 white, 1 black. The black seed pulsed faintly, not with life, but with absence. The child who held it, the quietest of them all, looked at Doc Vey. "You knew what it was to be erased," she said softly. Doc didn't answer. He just nodded. The child placed the black seed beside the others. Then, silence. The air hummed, not with sound, but with expectation. Kale stepped forward. "What happens now?" The first child looked at the sky. "The seed you carry," she said, "is not a weapon. It is not a memory. It is an invitation." She reached out and touched Illyra's chest, right over her heart. "Inside you," she whispered, "is the first seed of the first whisper. It woke when you said, 'I remember.'" She turned to the others. "And inside each of you is another." They looked at each other. Joris frowned. "What? I don't feel anything." The child smiled. "You don't have to feel it. You just have to let it be." Then the ground beneath them began to glow. Not with light, but with memory. The 12 seeds began to rise, slowly, gently, and floated into the air. One by one, they drifted toward the crew. The gold seed hovered before Illyra. The blue one before Kale. The red one before Teysa. The white one before Doc. The black one before Joris. And each seed entered them, not through skin, through thought, through memory. Joris gasped. He saw his mother, not as she was when he was a boy, but as she was when she was happy, laughing, dancing, wearing a dress made of starlight. He hadn't remembered her smile in 30 years. Now he remembered. Teysa saw her sister, not dead, not gone, just singing, on a world she'd never known. Kale saw his father, not as a scientist, but as a man who cried when he heard birdsong. Doc saw the first patient he ever lost, not as a corpse, but as a child who whispered, "Tell them I wasn't afraid." Illyra saw Earth, not as it fell, not as it burned, but as it was. Children running through rain, a man fixing a broken radio, a woman singing to her cat, a soldier writing a letter home. And beneath it all, a single, quiet voice. We were never broken. We were only unfinished. The seeds settled. The children watched. And then the sky above them began to change. The nebulous colors deepened. The trees grew taller. The rivers flowed faster. And from the heart of the garden, a new tree began to rise. Not from soil, from memory. Its roots were made of whispered names, its branches of unspoken songs, its leaves, each one a face, a mother, a child, a soldier, a scientist, a synod envoy who wept, a keeper who chose to feel. All of them, all remembered. And as the tree reached its full height, a single fruit formed. It glowed, not gold, not white, but every color at once. The first child stepped forward. She held out her hands. "Now," she said, "you must choose." Illyra looked at her crew. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. She turned back to the child. "What's the choice?" The child looked at the fruit. "This tree is the last standard." She paused. "It is the final memory of what it means to feel." She looked at each of them. "If you eat the fruit, you will become part of the garden. You will remember everything, and you will never forget again." She looked at the Vireo. "But if you take the fruit and leave, you will carry the memory with you." She gestured to the galaxy. "You will spread it. You will teach it. You will make others feel, even if they are afraid, even if they are broken, even if they have been told they should not." She looked at Illyra. "You are not the last of humanity." She touched her own chest. "You were the first who chose to carry the weight of feeling, so others wouldn't have to bear it alone." Silence. Then Joris spoke. "I don't want to stay," he said, voice rough. "I want to go back to the ones who still don't know what love feels like." Teysa nodded. "I want to find the children who were erased. I want to tell them their names." Doc looked at the fruit. "I want to be the one who says, 'It's okay to cry.'" Kale whispered, "I want to be the one who listens." Illyra closed her eyes. She thought of the fracture device, of the first remembered, of the keeper who became human, of the hand in the void that offered the next seed. She opened her eyes. "I don't want to stay," she said. "I want to go back." The first child smiled. "I knew you would." She reached up and plucked the fruit. It did not fall. It floated into Illyra's hands. Warm, alive,
full of every memory, every song, every tear, every name, and beneath it, written in the fruit's skin in 1,000 languages, one phrase, repeated: "We are the ones who remember, and we are the ones who will teach you to feel." The children bowed. One by one, they turned and walked into the garden. Their bodies dissolved into light. Their voices became wind. Their memories became leaves, and the tree, now whole, sang, a song without words, a song older than time. And as it sang, the garden began to fade, not disappear, but spread. The roots reached into the quantum foam. The branches touched distant stars. The fruit's memory, held in Illyra's hands, pulsed once, and then it was gone. Not lost, transmitted through the Vireo, through the echo network, through every being who had ever felt. Across the galaxy, a single quiet ripple. On a colony where children drew the tear symbol. On a Synod vessel where an envoy removed their implant. On a desert moon where a soldier sat alone, holding a photo. On every world where someone whispered, "I remember." The fruit's memory bloomed, not as a vision, as a feeling, a warmth, a recognition, a quiet, gentle knowing, you are not alone. The garden was gone. The children were gone. The tree was gone. Only the UNS Vireo remained, and in its core, silent, still, the fractured device was gone. But the seed was not. It was in the ship, in the walls, in the air, in the way the lights hummed just a little softer, in the way the console lit up when someone was sad, in the way the ship no longer needed to jump. It simply remembered where to go. Illyra stood on the observation blister. She held the stone she had carried since Seed 7, the one that had glowed with the symbol. She pressed it to the glass and whispered, "Thank you." The stone glowed once, then faded. But in its place, on the glass, a new symbol appeared. Not the tear, not the spiral, not the 7 points. A new one, a circle. Inside it, a single note. And beneath it, 3 words: "We are the first." Kale joined her. "They're not gone," he said. Illyra looked at him. "They're everywhere." He smiled. "Then we're not the last standard." She looked out at the stars. "No." She touched the glass. "We are the first who chose to carry it." Weeks passed. The Vireo traveled. Not to war, not to peace, to people. To the forgotten, to the broken, to the ones who had been told their feelings were dangerous. They didn't preach, they didn't fight. They sat, they listened, and when someone whispered, "I don't know how to feel," Illyra would open her hand and show them the stone. It didn't glow, it didn't speak, but when they touched it, they remembered. A mother's laugh, a friend's hand, a song they'd forgotten, a name they'd buried, and they wept, not from pain, from recognition. On a mining colony, a man who had not spoken in 10 years stood up. He walked to the edge of the platform. He looked at the stars, and he sang, not a song he knew, a song he remembered. On a Synod prison world, a child born without a neural implant, raised in silence, looked at Illyra and asked, "Is it okay to be afraid?" She knelt and said, "Yes, and it's okay to keep going anyway." The child smiled, and for the first time, they held her hand. One night, as the Vireo drifted near a quiet system, a new signal came. Not from a ship, not from a colony, from the void. A single note. Long, soft, perfect. And beneath it, a single word written in the fabric of space. Thank you. The crew gathered on the bridge. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. They just listened. And in the silence, they heard it, not from the signal, from themselves, from the stone, from the ship, from the memory, from the seed, from the garden, from the child, from the first whisper, from the keeper, from the first remembered, from every soul who had ever chosen to feel. And they realized they were not heroes, they were not saviors, they were not even the last. They were simply the first to say, I remember. And because of that, the galaxy was no longer afraid. It was awakening. They didn't know where to go next, so they didn't go anywhere. They just stayed, for a while, on the bridge, quiet, together.
And then Illyra turned to the nav computer. She didn't input coordinates. She didn't search for a destination. She simply placed her hand on the console and whispered, "Show me the next one." The screen flickered. Then a single star appeared. Not on any chart, not on any map, just there. And beside it, a name. Not a number, not a designation, a name. Written in the same ancient script as the fruit. Leora. The child's name. From the memory, from the vision, from the first whisper. Kael looked at her. She's still alive? Illyra didn't answer. She just stood and whispered, I'm ready. The Vireo stirred. Not with engines, with memory. And as it slipped into the flow of the cosmos, as the stars blurred into streaks of light, the ship's core pulsed once. And from the walls, from the air, from the stone in the Lyra's pocket, from the silence between heartbeats, a new song began. Not loud, not proud, just true. And it carried a single line, repeated, again and again and again. We are the ones who remember. We are the ones who feel. We are the ones who will teach you to be human. The screen faded. The stars returned. The Vireo flew on. And somewhere, in the dark between the galaxies, a new garden began to grow. Not from seeds, from songs, from whispers, from tears, from hands held in the dark, from voices that said, I remember. And on a distant world, under twin moons, a child picked up a stone. She carved into it, I remember. And then she placed it on a hill and waited for someone to come and say, Me too.